Hello there, it's an NBN related video. Back in October 2017, just before the ABC did its Four Corners program on the National Broadband Network, NBN Co released a list of what was claimed in the media and by the NBN as the 70 most expensive fibre to the premises installs around the country. I've provided a link to that list on the NBN website in the Show More section of this video, along with some news links at the time reporting on it. At the time I thought, wow, they are expensive, and no doubt there must surely be many more expensive FTTP installs, especially in brownfield areas. Thousands, if not tens of thousands of high-cost FTTP installs beyond the claim 4,400 average. At the time, this list was used by some as justification that a full fibre to 93% of premises rollout should never have been considered, and why the multi-technology mix model is superior, and the list by itself proves it. Anyway, in recent days I've given this list a bit more thought. 1. Why did the NBN release only 70 of the most expensive FTTP installs? Surely there must be many thousands or tens of thousands of very expensive FTTP installs in the 1 million FTTP active connections at the time. 2. What would the total extra cost of these extra high cost installs upscale to an overall 93% FTTP installation, that is to 10.23 million FTTP premises, if the FTTP rollout had continued in 2013, assuming a Scenario 2 type rollout of $64 billion peak funding as detailed in the 2013 strategic review done after the election. Point 3. What sort of total number of difficult high cost above average brownfield FTTP installs might have there been in a 93% FTTP rollout to 10.23 million FTTP premises? Before I continue, please note I have no political affiliation or political agenda. I have no association with any telco, the NBN or political party, or any interest group with an axe to grind, past or present. I have made some assumptions using this data, and only have data that is publicly available on the internet. I've listed those assumptions at the end of this video. The most important two are, I have assumed this list actually is the top most 70 expensive installs, and they apply to 850,000 existing brownfield FTTP installs as of 2017. Okay, let's start. First I took the cost data from the NBN list and put it into a spreadsheet. The first calculation I did was what was the actual total extra cost of all these 70 high-cost FTTP installs, and what is the total cost for 70 average premises at a standard claim average of 4,400 brownfields FTTP install cost. I thought, wow, okay, that does look like a lot of extra cost beyond the typical FTTP brownfield install, even for 70 properties. Yes, there are a few very high cost installs, but the median extra cost of these 70 installs is $19,414, and the average is $23,638, with the highest extra costs on the list $91,196, and the 70th on the list at $8,916. The 70th and the last on the list is only double extra cost beyond the claim average $4,400 FTTP brownfields install cost. So in other words, the number of high cost installs drop in cost very rapidly. I then plotted that data from the list of 70 high cost installs on a line chart as per the chart shown. I thought, that line is trending down reasonably quickly, and can I get any trend analysis out of this data, as limited as it is? So I used the spreadsheet line trend function to plot two trend lines using log trend purple colour and exponential trend green colour, and also extended these trend lines using that function within the spreadsheet to extrapolate the likely numbers of high cost FTTP brownfield installs that required extra installation costs beyond the $4,400 average brownfield FTTP install cost. The blue line, slightly thicker than the other lines, is the plotted NBN list data. The green line, the exponential line, is the one I have used for further calculations as it produces the worst case scenario against a full 93% FTTP rollout. I kept thinking initially before doing any plots there must surely be many thousands, if not tens of thousands, in every 850,000 FTTP brownfield installs would incur a higher than average cost for FTTP brownfield installs. As per the green exponential trend line, it indicates maybe no more than approximately 370 premises per 850,000 brownfield FTTP installations would require extra installation costs above and beyond the average $4,400 claimed FTTP brownfield install cost per premise. The green exponential trend line, in other words, trends rapidly to zero extra installation cost. Now, I have to admit 70 data points is not a lot of data, and maybe with a lot more data, that blue line doesn't trend down at all like the green coloured exponential trend line does, but immediately flattens out and goes almost horizontal for some huge number of premises, and some or all of my assumptions are completely wrong, and this old man just got it wrong. Anyway, I thought, so how would this pan out if the green line exponential trend analysis is roughly accurate? How much extra above and beyond the average $4,400 FTTP brownfield install cost would these high-cost FTTP installs cost in a full 93% FTTP to 10.23 million premises rollout be? So I did the maths based on the Scenario 2 calculation in the strategic review done after the 2013 election. A link to that report is in the Show More section of this video. That report showed that a full fibre to the premise rollout to 93% of premises in Australia, that's 10.23 million FTTP premises, could have been done for $64 billion and by 2023, although likely much less in cost and time, with overseas cost reductions in fibre rollouts, like in New Zealand, since that strategic review was written. Surely, I thought, it would add many billions more on top of any 93% FTTP rollout, including the Scenario 2 $64 billion full FTTP cost, and tens of thousands or more likely hundreds of thousands, if not millions of premises affected with high cost above average FTTP installations, and prove also that a full FTTP rollout would incur huge extra costs just because of these high cost above average difficult FTTP installations. Well, no. When upscaled to a full 93% FTTP rollouts type scenario, it could have cost as little as an extra $23.2 million on top of the $64 billion peak funding Scenario 2 full FTTP 93% model, and could have involved no more than about 4,500 premises out of a total of 10.23 million FTTP premises. The percentage of difficult high-cost installs could have been about 0.04%, and the extra cost about 0.04%. I then thought, okay, these high cost above average brownfield FTTP installs must surely increase the claimed average FTTP brownfields install cost of $4,400 by hundreds, if not $1,000 or so. Actually, it's about $2.30 across a 10.23 million FTTP rollout scenario. So, in other words, yes, there are a very small, tiny number of very expensive FTTP installs and a very few moderately expensive installs, but based on this analysis and the assumptions I've detailed at the end of this video, a very, very small, trivial number of them, and the additional cost is overwhelmingly trivial in relation to the overall project cost and the total number of FTTP brownfield installations, and is not in any significant way reflective of or affects in any material way the claimed average cost of FTTP brownfield installs, and the list itself cannot be and should not be used, in my opinion, as a reason for not doing a full FTTP rollout to 93% of premises either back then or in the future. So, in other words, this list of the most expensive FTTP installs proves absolutely nothing against a full 93% FTTP rollout based on this analysis and assumptions. Even if I'm hopelessly wrong and out by a factor of 10, the extra cost of these high-cost FTTP installs across a full 10.23 million FTTP rollout install nationwide, beyond the average claim $4,400 FTTP Brownfield install cost, would still be less than $240 million out of $64 billion scenario 2, 93% FTTP rollout, or less than 0.4% extra cost. The multi-technology mix NBN rollout is currently $21.5 billion over budget. The original budget, that is, of $29.5 billion. That's 73% over budget. The NBN should, in my opinion, publish a much longer list so more analysis can be done, because 70 just isn't enough. Okay, that's it, and thanks for watching.